TIL that the Pink Panther cartoon show was created due to the success of the character in the opening credits of the Pink Panther films. I always did wonder, not being super familiar with the movies, but knowing they were about a cat burglar or something, what the connection between the Pink Panther famous old movie and the Pink Panther cartoon about TIL related. It's weird knowing that he's basically just a mascot for an unrelated movie's opening credits. I don't know whether that's disappointing and cynical or creative and kind of impressive. Back when I was a backpacker, I used to hang out a lot on Lonely Planet's Thorntree forum. One post that has stuck in my head ever since for some reason, and will forever live in my head alongside the Pink Panther. I flew Egypt Air and they didn't serve alcohol on the flight. But they played Pink Panther cartoons, so it was a little like being drunk. Wait, so the movies came before the cartoon? I assume the movies were some weird live-action cartoon thing where they focused more on the real actors. This is a genuine mindfuck. So like, the Pink Panther just wasn't a thing? They seriously named a detective movie the Pink Panther? I was very confused when I watched the Pink Panther movies. I felt betrayed. I wanted a fun cartoon and all I got was old real people. Although that being said, those were some of the few movies where my dad laughed his ass off, which made them better somehow. This is so weird. I was just randomly thinking about this exact same thing yesterday. I was reminiscing about how my dog that passed away, I miss you Brooklyn, crying face, used to strut sometimes when he walked, and my mom used to sing the theme song as he strutted. Originally, the Pink Panther movie is the one I say when people ask me about a perfect film. Perfect cast, my favorite composer did the music and it's some of his best, my favorite director directed. And it's hilarious. I love everything about it. When I was a kid I saw on TV Guide Return of the Pink Panther. I was so excited. I turned the channel and I saw this weird movie where some Asian guy hiding in closet attacks some other guy wearing a Sherlock Holmes hat. I was so confused. As a kid I watched the cartoon, then the movie came on TV and I was stoked. Man, as a young kid thinking he was going to watch the movie that inspired the cartoons, that was the most boring and disappointing movie I've ever seen. Just like the Domino's Noid. Avoid the Noid became a thing there for a second in the 80s-90s, eventually getting his own video game. And who could forget all the hardcore pornography with the Where's the Beef? Lady? Fun fact, the Pink Panther has a name in the German dub, but not in any of the others. He also speaks on rare occasions, for example the end of the credits has a scene where his lines are pretty iconic. Am I the only one who remembers that time Pink Panther was a mascot for wall insulation? The pink fluffy kind. I wanted to eat that shit so bad. Apparently it's still a thing. That explains why the Pink Panther live action was just Steve Martin playing some French detective. Never watched it because it wasn't about what I thought was the Pink Panther. My dad would watch these movies when I was a kid and I'd always be excited during the credits for a cartoon cat, but then the movie would start and it was boring adult stuff. What did the Pink Panther sing as he trod on ants? Dead ant, dead ant, dead ant, dead ant, dead ant, dead ant, dead end. Ant. Dead Ant. Reminds me that The Simpsons were started on the Tracy Ullman Show. Another example of a short gag bit going on to be bigger than the original show. I've had the urge to watch the Pink Panther films recently, but they aren't on any streaming service available in my country, as far as I can tell. What confuses me the most is why they use the Pink Panther character as a mascot for insulation. Who is that supposed to be marketed to? Hey! Kind of like how Pokemon the animated series was based on a Pokemon the Game Boy games and not the other way around. It's like making a whole cartoon series with the moving gun barrel from the opening of the James Bond films as the star. It blew my mind when I learned there were live-action Pink Panther movies. I only knew him as a wafer biscuit mascot. I remember my sister being disappointed when the credits stopped. She said, "Oh, I thought it was going to be funny." Didn't they also add a Pink Panther cartoon in the beginning of 007 VHS tapes? I vaguely remember it as a kid. I relate to this seeing the opening credits as a child and being really disappointed that it wasn't a cartoon. Oh man, my dad had a box set with all the movies that I used to love to watch. I hope they still hold up. It's crazy when I found out Pink Panther was actually a reference to a fictional large pink diamond. It's nice he ended up moving into a beautiful cottage in Vermont with his life partner Snagglepuss. Not trying to be a dick, but I genuinely thought this was obvious. I said genuinely. Read it as a kid, it was not that great. When I got bigger the movies were though. I loved the music as a kid but never really cared for the actual cartoon. I always thought the cartoon came first. Now it all makes so much sense. This reminds me of my dead mom. She used to love the Pink Panther 3. I always assumed it was from the success of the insulation valve. TIL. It sometimes seems it was invented to sell pink fiberglass insulation. Is anybody else hearing the song in their head as I read this post? In his later years, he had to resort to selling fiberglass insulation, and then Pink Panther hit hard times and started selling insulation. I first saw the movies with Peter Sellers, so no confusion there. I thought you said your dog doesn't bite. That's not my dog. You just know Pink Panther was smooth as hell. And just like that, a saxophone melody is stuck in my head. Funny, I always thought it was the other way around.